We round up with this, as Shayla mentioned, 16 days of activism. Gender-based violence is front and center in national and international conversation. But there is one form of abuse that is still part of, but not spoken about too often or often enough, and that is the issue of financial abuse. It doesn't really leave bruises, but it does leave deep scars. Research by the Human Sciences Research Council has revealed that 1 in 8 South African women over the age of 18 say they've experienced some form of economic or financial control, manipulation, or deprivation. A reminder that GBV isn't only about physical violence, but it's also about the way power is used to trap, silence, and limit women's independence. We're joined now by survivor Clara Mokgomme to speak about her experience and how she managed to get out. Clara, very good evening to you, and thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us and open up about this. My first question is, when did you learn of the term financial abuse? Were you already in the relationship, or had you known beforehand of this phenomenon?
Good evening to you, and thank you for having me. I only got to learn about the financial abuse after I was financially abused. So I didn't know it was financial abuse there.
So when did you start recognizing it, that the economic power, the financial muscle is being used to trap you? Perhaps just tell us a little bit about your story and the realization, the forms that it took, this financial abuse.
Okay. Initially, I always say it starts in a subtle manner, because one would actually offer to take care of you as your husband or your boyfriend. So in the beginning, it's very subtle. It starts off as, let me take care of you. I want to be your sole provider. It sounds good at the beginning because they will take care of you. They will spoil you here and there. They will pamper you with gifts and everything. But once you give away your financial independence, that's when the financial abuse kicks in. They can either use their money to control you or use your own money. They can manipulate you into abusing you financially.
So I can understand their money, but what about your money? How does that, manifest? Are you able to just share with us what you've learned, not only from yourself or maybe from others?
Okay. From my side, well, the person started by asking me to resign from my workplace, of which I did not, and they made sure that they cut all the financial streams that I had, the financial income that I had. They made sure that they cut all that off.
Are you
And
able to share
they,
how? How did they do that?
well, he slowly convinced me to stop those smaller yana business. You call them smaller yana businesses, and offered to start a big business, of which we did. We started the big business, and when I started seeing the money rolling in, I figured, you know what, I don't need this smaller yana hassles. I'm well off now. I can stop whatever I was doing before and focus on the main business, which was our business. So he started controlling every cent that came in, and he would actually dictate how we should spend the proceeds. He was the one controlling the proceeds now, and whatever he says goes. And I had no say because I was no longer financially independent. I was now dependent on this business that we both have. So he was the one controlling the money now. That's how he managed to control.
And, as you're speaking, I think sometimes people have this misperception of at what level of the economic rung people have to be in order to be financially controlled or manipulated. They'd often think that it's people who are without education, people without social strata. But it sounds like you are somebody who had already reached levels of financial independence and success that some people would even say you should have known, better. And that must be very hurtful.
Well, it is. Even to yourself, you look back and you realize, how can I be so foolish? I was okay. I was well off because for a very long time I've been very independent.
Hmm.
I've lived alone for a very long time. For as long as I can remember, actually, I was okay. I had my own property. I had my own car that was fully paid. I had a job and I had other small businesses on the side. So I was really well off. But yeah, I fell for the lies. I fell for the tricks to a point where the only source of income was my salary and the rentals. All the other businesses that I was doing, I didn't have them anymore.
And typically, somebody like this will cut off all forms of support structures. Is that what happened in your case when people
Yes,
did
totally.
realize that what happened?
Well, I remember a friend of mine. She's a police officer. She just told me straight up that, you know what, this guy is going to control you at the end because the way he's going about this relationship, because he had now isolated me from my family and friends. He would complain that whenever I'm on the call with them, we take too long and I don't give him too much time. I don't spend time with him when he's around because I'm always on the phone with my friend or family. So slowly but surely, he just isolated me from these people. When somebody isolates, I actually abuse thrives in isolation. I can tell you that, and I've experienced that.
So, at what point did you, I say, quote unquote, wake up and make means to regain control? How were you able to do that?
That's when I realized that I was no longer independent. I was so dependent on this business that we were doing together. And there were things that I actually found out about his life that I didn't like. They say he who feeds you controls you. So at that point, I discovered that he has another girlfriend. Actually, the girlfriend had just given birth and all that. So I wanted out like completely. And from then, he began to threaten me. He began to tell me that, you know what, you and I are never going to separate. If we do separate, because of death. And if you dare try to leave me, I will kill you. So I realized that I'm trapped in a very uncomfortable situation. So I had to make a decision. And I realized then that, you know what, I'm no longer financially independent. I depend so much on this guy. Yes, I did have my job, but now because of being used to a certain lifestyle, it was no longer enough. So I realized that, you know what, I'm trapped in a certain kind of lifestyle that I cannot sustain anymore without this guy. So I decided to just call it quits, leave my property, and run for my life because now I was having death threats. He started by beating me off. He wanted me to um, accept the fact that he has other relationships. And he told me that those relationships are none of my business. Whether I found out or not, he didn't tell me. So they don't concern me. I should not even try and ask him about those baby mamas and all that. He used to call her baby mama. So I knew that I'm in a death trap here. I had to run away and run for my life.
Well, we congratulate you and we are grateful that you were able to find a point of safety, source of comfort and help. And we hope that we do speak to you again at some point so that maybe you can give other women advice. But by speaking to us, by opening up, I think you have done that. Thank you very much. Clara Mokgomme is a victim, not anymore, but a survivor of financial abuse, speaking to us about her journey. Brings the time to exactly 2200 hours. Thanks for listening and watching. Goodbye.